Picture is going viral with Bria Hartley with the sinister grin, right? This malevolent look that's on her face right now, clearly smiling after injuring Sophie Cunningham.
Bria Hartley didn't just collide with Sophie Cunningham. She bulldozed her out of the game in a hit that looked less like an accident and more like a demolition job. Fans weren't buying the "ooks, it was just bad luck" narrative. No, what they saw was a wrecking ball play that left Cunningham crumpled and limping, while Hartley wore the kind of grin that felt disturbingly out of place. Reckless? Maybe. Calculated? Quite possibly. Whenever it was, it reeked of something uglier than a simple misstep. The cameras told a story no PR team could spin away. Cunningham in visible pain, Hartley flashing a smile as if injuring an opponent was part of the game plan. It was a moment that turned a routine collision into a controversy drenched in suspicion. A play fans will replay not for its competitiveness, but for its cruelty.
Cunningham, let's be clear here. Sophie Cunningham was targeted. Let's be very, very clear here. But Sophie Cunningham was flat out targeted by a dirty player.
What should have been a throwaway, routine play mutated into one of the season's most toxic flashpoints. Instead of just another possession, fans were left wondering if Bria Hartley had tossed the rulebook aside and gone hunting for damage. Was it really a slip? Or did Hartley make the conscious choice to stomp across a line so dangerous it turned basketball into something closer to a street fight?
Oh, and Cunningham is down. My goodness. Should be. Scary moment as we went to commercial. Sophie Cunningham hit the floor hard, and she is being helped off the floor, heading back to the locker room.
It all unraveled on what should have been a simple drive to the basket. Instead, Bria Hartley barreled down the lane like a wrecking ball with no brakes, plowing straight into Sophie Cunningham's right leg. The impact wasn't just bad luck. It was a direct hit that sent shockwaves through the arena. Cunningham immediately crumpled, clutching her knee in sheer agony as the crowd fell silent. Trainers sprinted onto the court, but the damage was already done. Cunningham had to be carried off, her night, and possibly more, destroyed by a collision that looked less like basketball and more like a blindside assault.
That just occurred.
That's like she tries to slide over right there, and Hartley just kind of falls and makes collision with that lower leg. You see her immediately grab it. And she went down hard and was clearly in a lot of pain.
This wasn't just another injury. It was a nightmare unfolding in real time. The arena froze in stunned silence as Sophie Cunningham was dragged off. Her might finished before it ever had a chance to peak. The announcement that she was rolled out didn't just sting. It felt like a gut punch to the entire crowd. And then came the slow-motion replays. Not a source of clarity, but of horror. Every frame made the hit look more vicious, more avoidable, more wrong. Cunningham's desperate clutch at her knee, the twisted angle of the collision, the grimace carved across her face. It wasn't just painful to watch. It was damning.
Indiana Fever fans wake up pissed off today. Pissed off. Not only are we getting assaulted, but they're smiling about it. This is the 6th time they've smiled, laughed, and cheered on our Indiana Fever players getting assaulted, getting injured. And it pisses me off.
What turned an ugly moment into outright disgrace was the ref's complete failure to act. As if the collision itself wasn't bad enough, the officials didn't even bother to review it. No stoppage, no scrutiny, just business as usual while Sophie Cunningham was writhing in pain. The crowd saw it, the cameras caught it. Everyone knew this was serious, except the referees, apparently. Their refusal to intervene didn't just look incompetent, it looked complicit. It left fans asking the obvious question, was this gross negligence or something far darker?
Hartley deserves zero benefit of the doubt. And Sophie Cunningham's family not too happy. I believe
The fallout was instant and merciless. Social media erupted into a full-blown firestorm with fans tearing into the league for letting this kind of carnage slide. Post after post piled up, each one angrier than the last, accusing the WNBA of turning a blind eye to player safety. Which should have been a league protecting its athletes, instead looked like a system shrugging off injuries as collateral damage. With every passing minute, the outrage only intensified, the demands for accountability growing too loud, too relentless to ignore.
All kind of excuses to say that Bria Hartley is not a dirty player. Let me tell y'all something, man. Come on in here. Come on in here, man. Let me tell y'all something. If it quacks like a duck, walks like a duck, eats like a duck, it's a duck, man. Come on, man. She is the dirtiest player in the WNBA right now, winning the trophy. All right? Winning the trophy for it. Don't sit here and try to tell me Bria Hartley is not a dirty player.
It wasn't just the fans who were furious. Sophie Cunningham's own family lit the fuse. Her sister Lindsay and mother Paula blasted the league, their frustration boiling over at the blatant lack of action. They didn't stop at ripping into the referees. They went further, calling out the WNBA itself for its hypocritical double standard, quick to punish players for daring to speak their minds, but conveniently silent when it comes to holding incompetent officials responsible. The message was clear. If the league can't protect its athletes or enforce its own rules fairly, then what exactly does it stand for?
Sophie Cunningham was targeted, y'all. I'm telling you right now, Sophie Cunningham was targeted by Bria Hartley, and it just is what it is. It is what it is. I don't want to sit here and play games and act like, you know, she wasn't. She was targeted by Bria Hartley, and that's just the fact of the matter. And people can act like it's not all they want. I told you guys this girl was a dirty player, and that's all she did today was show how dirty she is.
And then came the moment that turned outrage into pure disgust. As the cameras shifted away from the chaos on the court, they caught something that made fans' blood boil. Bria Hartley smirking. Yes. While Sophie Cunningham was being hauled off in visible agony, Hartley flashed a smile that looked less like nerves and more like satisfaction. To viewers, it wasn't just tone-deaf, it was cruel, callous, and downright heartless. If the collision left Hartley's intentions in doubt, that smirk all but sealed the verdict in the court of public opinion. Villain, not victim. Could there possibly have been a worse look?
You can tell Bria Hartley, in my opinion, she launched herself into her knee. She did. And I've seen some of the reaction online. And guys, it's despicable. It really is. There's a lot of people celebrating this injury. And guess what? You can imagine who it is. It's members of the old WNBA fandom, the ones that root for Paige Beckers and Angel Reese and Asia Wilson and all the usual damn suspects.
Social media didn't just react, it detonated. The clip of Bria Hartley's smirk was replayed on endless loop, dissected frame by frame, each viewing fueling more fury. To fans, this wasn't a case of bad optics. It looked like Hartley outright laughing as Sophie Cunningham was dragged off the floor in pain. That image struck a raw nerve, igniting outrage across every corner of the internet. Suddenly, it wasn't even about the collision anymore. It was about the chilling absence of remorse, the impression of a player who seemed to find someone else's suffering amusing. And in the eyes of the public, that crossed a line you don't come back from.
Atkins, 7 to shoot. Cardoso rolls, catch. Cardoso over the top, can't get it. Reese fights for the rebound, and a foul, and this time gets a little chippy, and a shove on Nelson Ododa. And listen, this arena, typically we'll see some ringside fights, and Charles this time trying to fight through the official, points a long finger as both teams walk to their respective corner.
But we mentioned the physicality and that last possession, the contact being let go. This time, I think it was accidental by Hartley. And then Reese just with a big reaction. And Tina Charles, being the vet that she is, going to stick up for her team. If you know anything about Angel Reese, she is going to go hard. She's tough. She cares about making a stand for her team. And I love the reaction from Tina Charles as a vet. You want to see your vet.
For a lot of fans, Hartley's smirk wasn't some one-off slip. It was the latest entry in a disturbing highlight reel. This is a player who's been carving out a reputation not for skill, but for recklessness and outright hostility. Earlier this year, cameras caught her yanking Angel Reese's hair in a rebound scrum, sparking a confrontation that overshadowed the game itself. Not long after, she was thrown out for a scuffle with Rebecca Allen, another ugly moment that left her reputation stained. These weren't harmless dust-ups. They were flashpoints in a growing pattern of aggression, the kind that makes opponents brace for impact whenever she's on the floor. So when Hartley smiled as Cunningham was carried off, many didn't see surprise. They saw confirmation. Was this really just bad timing, or was it the mask slipping on who she's been all along?
This is Bria Hartley right here, grinning from ear to ear with Sophie Cunningham smiling. I mean, that's despicable, folks. There's no other way to look at it. Yeah, how about this right here? That chick grinning after Caitlin Clark got slammed to the ground. And then this chick. I mean, really? Unbelievable.
Fans and analysts didn't have to work hard to connect the dots. Hartley's history of reckless outbursts and cheap shots was already well documented, and the smirk after Cunningham's injury didn't land like an accident in isolation. It landed like the final piece of a disturbing puzzle. To many, it wasn't just one bad moment. It was the culmination of a career steadily defined less by talent and more by aggression. The perception wasn't growing anymore. It was solidifying. Bria Hartley isn't careless. She's dangerous.
Jackson! Kelsey Mitchell! Every game is a home game. Listen to the crowd in Connecticut. Final score in overtime. Fever 99, Sun 93. And Indiana completes the greatest comeback in franchise history.
At this point, Hartley's track record all but cements her role as the villain of the story. Her past cheap shots and reckless antics, when stacked against her smirk during Cunningham's injury, created a picture fans could no longer ignore. Social media went feral, treating this not as an isolated lapse, but as the breaking point. To them, Hartley wasn't just careless. She was a serial offender, a player who had blown past the boundaries of competitiveness and straight into the territory of malice. This wasn't the first time, and fans were convinced it wouldn't be the last. For many, the conclusion was simple. Hartley had crossed the line too many times to ever step back.
Jackson Kelsey Mitchell has a new career high. Backdoor Mitchell bouncing in the paint for two. Kelsey Mitchell, the big is matched up. Mitchell squeezing through for two at the foul. Fouls on the other end. It's Mitchell launching it and connecting.
Even Sophie Cunningham's family refused to stay silent. Her sister, Lindsay, unleashed her fury at the referees, ripping into their failure to act when it mattered most. But she didn't stop there. She called out the WNBA itself, exposing a toxic culture where players are slapped with fines for daring to criticize officiating, yet referees skate by no matter how badly they screw up. The hypocrisy was glaring, and the outrage was justified. The question hung heavy over everything. If the league won't protect its players or hold its officials accountable, then what good is the WNBA stepping in after the damage is already done?
It's another double-double for Aaliyah Boston. Boston will fire a three. And Boston the putback. Plus the foul.
Oh, look at Boston just muscle her way into Charles and lay it in.
Boston deep position. Boston pretty spin. Back to Boston. Who ties the game?
Boston now with her 15th double-double of the year. That's a new Fever franchise record.
For the Indiana Fever, Cunningham's injury wasn't just a bump in the road. It was a gut punch that could shatter their entire season. Already limping along with stars like Caitlin Clark and Arie McDonald sidelined, losing Cunningham stripped the team of one of its last reliable weapons. Her leadership, her scoring, her presence gone in an instant. What was left was a roster running on fumes, with playoff dreams crumbling into delusion. Any talk of a deep postseason run felt laughable now. The question wasn't how far the Fever could go, it was whether they could even survive at all.
Mabry knifes off the screen. Charles is doubled.
And Indiana looks like they're in a zone right now.
Kick out and stolen by Mitchell. Explodes 2-on-1. Sims elevates for 2 and a foul.
Bug with their point guards. This is where you have Odyssey Sims coming in. Kelsey Mitchell making a great heads-up play here, but Odyssey Sims has done a great job early on coming in.
As the dust settled, fans and pundits zeroed in on the league's deafening silence. The idea of suspending Hartley gained traction fast, but the WNBA's response, or complete lack of one, became the real scandal. So far, the league has done little more than look the other way, as if hoping the outrage would burn itself out. But it didn't. Instead, analysts dragged up comparisons to past controversies, laying bare a pattern of selective enforcement and cowardice. The question was no longer just about Hartley. It was about whether the WNBA was willing to let its credibility rot by refusing to act. Was this incompetence or outright indifference? Either way, momentum swung violently against the league, and the outrage showed no signs of slowing down.
As the momentum swung completely.
Shot clock down to 6 for the Fever. Turner, up fade. Turner kicks it. Hole three-pointer. Bottom!
Indiana's just...
Looking back, the question gnawed at everyone. Was Sophie Cunningham's injury really unavoidable, or did Bria Hartley's reckless aggression make it inevitable? To many, this didn't look like a freak accident. It looked like the byproduct of a player whose out-of-control style finally tipped over into disaster. The collision wasn't just unfortunate, it felt preventable. And that's what stung the most. Cunningham's pain may not have been fate at all, but the direct consequence of Hartley's brand of basketball.
I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of you too. Proud of you. I'm so proud of you guys.
The referee's refusal to intervene or even review the play poured gasoline on an already burning fire. A league that claimed to prioritize player safety looked toothless, and fans were left wondering if this collision could have been avoided had officials actually done their jobs. But what truly seared the moment into memory wasn't just the injury. It was Bria Hartley's smirk. That image became the defining snapshot of the controversy. To some, it was brushed off as adrenaline. To others, it looked like something far uglier, a flash of satisfaction that raised deeper, uncomfortable questions about Hartley's character. Was this just bad optics, or did it reveal who she really is when the mask slips?
We will never be counted out, because that is worth.
Experts and fans tore into the psychology of Hartley's smirk, dissecting it like evidence in a trial. Some tried to excuse it as a flash of frustration, a misplaced reaction in the heat of the game. But others saw something far more chilling, the look of a player who believed she was untouchable, immune to consequences, no matter how reckless or cruel her actions appeared. In the end, the interpretations barely mattered. To the public, the smirk was proof enough. Hartley hadn't just crossed a line, she obliterated it.
Foremost, they're good human beings. You know, they're selfless, they're tough, they don't care who gets the credit, they don't care whose day it is. They got something inside of them that you just can't teach. And, you know, they bring it out of each other. And it allows us to go through these incredibly tough times that we're going through, and always gives us a chance.
The Hartley-Cunningham fiasco didn't just spotlight one player. It exposed the league itself. How much responsibility does the WNBA actually take in protecting its athletes? Judging by its track record, the answer is not nearly enough. For years, the league has been blasted for letting reckless behavior slide, for punishing words more harshly than dangerous actions. Each new incident only reinforces the perception that accountability is optional and player safety is little more than a buzzword. Now fans are asking the uncomfortable question, if the WNBA won't step up when its athletes are getting hurt, then what future does it really have as a league that claims to value them?
You are the consummate professional. We love you. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
You were huge.
Sophie Cunningham's value to the Fever wasn't just in points or rebounds. She was the backbone of a team already limping through a season riddled with injuries. Her leadership kept the Fever from completely unraveling, and her loss ripped a hole straight through the team's identity. Now, with a paper-thin roster stretched to breaking, the Fever are staring down the impossible. In the aftermath, the media swarmed like vultures. Headlines across the country dissected every angle. The collision, the injury, Hartley's smirk. Some outlets sanitized it as a freak accident, but others tore into Hartley's reaction, painting it as the tipping point for a league already battling questions about player safety and accountability. The divide in coverage only fueled the fire and left the future of both the Fever and the WNBA looking even more uncertain.
And I'm just so incredibly proud of them for continuing to believe, for continuing to pull together, for continuing to step up. I mean, every single person on this roster impacts winning for us. And every single person on this roster is valued for how they impact winning, whether they play a second or not. They give and give and give to this team. And I'm thankful for this group.
As the outrage refused to die down, one question loomed over everything. Would the WNBA finally act, or would it once again prove itself incapable of protecting its players? Fans and analysts were split on Hartley's fate, but the debate wasn't just about a suspension. It was about whether the league had any credibility left. For many, this was the breaking point, a moment where inaction would confirm what critics had said all along, that the WNBA enforces its rules selectively and lets dangerous behavior slide until someone pays the price. The Hartley-Cunningham collision isn't just another ugly highlight. It's a scar that could follow the league for years. Whether Hartley faces real consequences or not, the damage has already been done. Player safety is in question, trust in officiating is in shambles, and the WNBA is staring down a credibility crisis of its own making. One thing is undeniable. This incident will go down as one of the most controversial moments in league history, and its fallout could define the WNBA's future.